I would like to, yeah. Do I go ahead? Yeah. So I would like to go ahead with the challenging behavior scenario. According to me, when I was working with the parents and with the kids, most of the times, like almost all of the times, when children presented with challenging behaviors or negative behaviors, that was the time when the true parenting practices that the parents were actually doing, that could come live over there. So you could make a lot of assumptions about what kind of parenting practices are going on with this particular child and with these these scenarios. So let's just take an account of what were the situation when the challenging behaviors occurred. So with special needs children, you will know that with developmental disabilities particularly, there are a lot of communication difficulties. So the child is at times verbal, child is at times non-verbal. Even if the child has some speech, the child cannot actually make meaning of whatever is happening and express it back to their carers in terms of what he's experiencing or what he's not liking, or in terms of many other expressions. Also, they cannot regulate themselves properly. That's when negative behaviors came a lot. It involves a lot of physical disturbances like stomach aches or sleep disturbances that they cannot really they are not even aware of it, but they're going through it and they cannot express it. So a lot of times negative behaviors were related to that. There were sensory preferences and avoidance related multiple behaviors. For example, in autism, what happens is that if there is a particular seeking for certain sensory experience, the child would crave for that thing and do anything to get that kind of an exposure, sensory exposure. Or to the polar opposite side of it, the child might just avoid it if that child is overwhelmed with that kind of a sensory input. And to an observer, to a parent as well, these behaviors sounded very strange and confusing. So that was where a lot of parents would go into a lot of harsh responses at times, or sometimes even some parents went in very leniently, saying that I don't know what to do with the child. Okay, so there were a lot of emotional regulation difficulties as well, like coping skills and managing anger and aggressive behaviors and all those things, wherein these behaviors were there. Parents kind of dealt with in their own ways, and which were very specific. Like as I said, that some parents would come up with a very harsh kind of a response, saying and yelling at the child no, or restraining or refraining that child. Or sometimes the parent will just let the child be, in the sense that I cannot stop him, I don't know what to do. So all these scenarios were there where there could be a direction that there I could find a link between parents' response in terms of how they wanted to handle that behavior, or how they wanted to, let's say, set boundaries or put on some limitations, or even when the child is in distress, how they were there for the child. So this kind of, I would like to carry this discussion further with a few examples that I would like to put in front of you. So I will read out the scenarios to you, and while you are hearing it, I would like you to make kind of, look for a pattern. The scenario number one. And the scenario says that Tom and Jim, Jim's parents, are quite strict, as you can see in the pictures. They often hear this sentence from their parents saying that it's either my way or the highway. You have to do it because I've told you to do so. All right. They're scared. I don't want to hear any more questions on this. Something like that. Well, the children are scared to break the rules at home, pretty much, and their mistakes are often harshly punished. Many times they are, left wondering, was it really so bad that I did, that I got so much of a punishment, so much of a yelling I got? Okay. And they often appear shy, timid, and shut off to themselves in the school as well. Okay, so you can make sense from the pictures as well. Keep this scenario in mind, and let's move to the next scenario. Well, here is Shweta. And Shweta's parents are very cool and chilled. All right, they say that Shweta, she's a princess. All right, they give her all the things she wishes for. Oftentimes, even when the things are not quite right, even then also. Shweta, on the other hand, often pinches, hits, snatches, and bullies others. There are a lot of complaints from the school as well as from the neighborhood. At times, she's very stubborn and she, puts on tantrums as well. Her parents are then, left wondering, even though they're doing so much for her, why she's doing, such behaviors when they give the world to her. They're left wondering about that. Okay. So there is another example, Kim. Kim's parents are both working. Kim's dad is out of station often for work. He has to stay away. And when he's home, he likes to enjoy his time in the family, relax and everything. So his mother, Kim's mother, is also working, and she often receives calls from the work when Kim and her are in the play area or garden or the park. At times when Kim cannot figure out things on his own, he tries to reach his parents, and he might hear these responses often, more so often, like figure out it yourself, honey, you are now a big boy, okay? Or I'm busy on a phone call, sweetheart. Can you please understand? Something like that. And Kim appears very confused and lost many times. Or when people look at him, he appears to be like a confused person, confused little boy. So example number 4, wherein Tina and Aman's parents are very, very sweet to them. They play together, they have fun together, they even make mess together. And later on, they clean it up together as well. The parents, they seem to explain to Tina and Aman why they are supposed to behave in a particular way. And when they do so, these children are getting rewarded as well for it. But if they break rules or misbehave, it is still all right with the parents, but the children know that they have to face some kind of consequences for it for sure. Okay, so, but they are not scared of these consequences, but rather they learn from it. And even if, something happens, they are happy to go back to their parents to tell, to confront that something like this has happened. They both are very happy children and they do pretty well in school too. Okay. So these are 4 examples and 4 scenarios that I have put in front of you. I hope that there was a particular pattern that you observed. And this pattern mainly was in terms of the parents' response, how the way the parents responded to the child's behavior and the child's emotional needs. And that is nothing but parenting styles. So mainly based on these factors that you can see on the screen, the parents' response to, let's say, disciplining their children. And that happens mainly when the child is behaving negatively or there are negative behaviors or challenging behaviors. And when offering support, for example, if the child is in distress, okay, he has committed a mistake, but he is still in distress, and what kind of a support and how you're offering it to him, that kind of a situation, and providing consequences. For example, there is something really unacceptable that the child has done. So what kind of consequences you're providing and how? So based on these criteria, the behaviors of the parents actually changed in all the examples. They were distinct and